Hey Jim, how you doing?
Good.
So I know you got a big game upcoming, obviously. Just a couple of points I wanted to ask you about. Obviously, Chris likes want to get an update with him, and then also if you can talk about Earl Timberlake, give an updated timeline maybe on his return, how you maybe you're looking to use him also. That'd be great. Thanks.
Um, well, as far as Chris is concerned, he met with a doctor this morning. I haven't gotten the report yet. I probably will as soon as I get off of this Zoom call, and then we'll know a little bit better what his status is. Earl is actually seeing the foot specialist this morning. I haven't gotten the results, but I'm thinking he's going to be out of his boot. At least I'm hoping that they'll get him out of the boot and he'll start his rehab process.
We'll go now to David Fronis from the Sun Sentinel. David.
Hey, Coach. Want to ask you about Purdue coming up, your impressions from them early on. And I saw they had a loss to Clemson. Just what can you take from that game, seeing another ACC team go up against them?
Well, you don't look at just one game because, our personnel is very different than Clemson's. Their 5-man shoots threes. Our 5-man does not. So this is more a matter of looking at Purdue's strengths, which is a lot. They've got two huge guys inside. Williams and Edey are a handful. They combine for 26 points a game, and they're a little bit different. Edey's like 7'4", almost 300 pounds, and a handful in around the basket. Edey can also play with his back to the basket, but he's a very, very skilled player. He can shoot a three. He can handle the ball. He makes great passes. He's a heck of an offensive player, and probably the best back to the basket player will play this month because he's really a handful for any one individual. Their perimeter players are shooting the three extremely well. So their big guys challenge your interior defense. Their perimeter players challenge your perimeter defense. And we're going to have a great defensive effort if we're going to be able to be in game for the entire game.
And if I could just get one follow on, you mentioned Chris Likes in the previous answer. Is he at all potentially able to play tomorrow if that report from the doctor comes back positive, or is he certainly out tomorrow?
Well, I won't know that until we get the report.
Okay.
The doctors look at it very, very differently than I do. A doctor looks at it is he healthy enough and can he actually run and jump on the foot? I look at it as, hey, if he's in uniform, I'm playing him. If he's not in uniform, I'm not.
Up next, we have Chris Stock from Inside the U. Chris.
Just maybe piggybacking off the Likes injury, but just, Jim, your 4 guards with Likes, with Earl down. Is there, and Matt mentioned maybe a little, Anthony playing a little bit of 3. Is there any thought of maybe moving Matt to a 3? Have you been working at that? If Chris isn't able to go with 3 guards, what are some things that you're thinking about with your lineups?
Okay, so let's talk about Matt's situation first. We have no intentions of playing him at the 3, primarily because he's worked so hard to learn the 4. And as a freshman, I don't want to add things to his plate. Secondly, Anthony Walker played primarily the 4 last year as a freshman, but he was also with us, so he learned some of the things at the 3, and we've spent a great deal of time preparing him for the moment where he would play the 3 during this preseason. So Anthony's much better prepared physically and mentally to handle the adjustment of moving from the 4 to the 3, much more so than Matt. And we expect Anthony to play a good bit at the 3 tomorrow night.
Up next, we have Steve Wine from the Associated Press. Steve, go ahead.
Jim, facing a Big Ten team is a different kind of test for your young team. What are you most curious to find out about your own team tomorrow night that maybe you're not sure about at this point?
Well, there's so many question marks. If we have Chris Likes or if we don't have Chris Likes. We know we don't have Earl Timberlake. So if Chris Likes is out, we're reduced to really 3 guards. Harlan Beverly then would start at the point. Isaiah Wong would split time between the 2 and the 1. Cam McGusty, that would give us our 3-guard starting lineup, but then Anthony Walker would move Cam to the 2 if he subbed for Harlan, and that would move Isaiah over to the 1. And quite honestly, that group has never played together in practice with Isaiah at the 1, Cam at the 2, and Anthony at the 3, because normally Harlan's at the 1 and Chris Likes is at the 1 on the other team, no matter which team they're playing for. We normally are white and green. So one of them's running the white team, one of them's running the green team. It's just a fact.
We have Wyatt Kopelman from the Miami Hurricane up next. Wyatt.
Hey, Coach. I know you mentioned Purdue really packing the paint with a lot of big, tall, skilled guys. How do you envision maybe using a Dane Gack or a Rodney Miller more to stop them instead of like a Walker, perhaps?
It's not the question of should we use them more. The question is really, how can they help us? So if a guy is playing well, like I thought Dane Gack really played well the other night. I watched him in practice yesterday, and I mentioned to the coaches, boy, he is doing some additional things that can be very helpful to us. So it's not asking him to do more. It's just asking either Rodney or Dane to play really well. And in this particular case, Rodney's a 5. Dane can play the 4 or 5. And now that Anthony Walker has moved to the 3, Dane Gack is likely to be Matt Cross's sub at the 4 spot. But Matt Cross and Dane Gack don't play the game anything alike, so we've got to make the adjustment. If we move Matt out and Dane in the substitution pattern, we've got to consider what we do offensively and defensively that'll accommodate what we see Dane doing in practice that can help us against a team like Purdue that is so long and big in around the basket with Williams and Edey.
We'll go now to Michelle Kaufman from the Miami Herald. Michelle.
Hey, Coach. Thanks for taking the time. 2 questions. One on Chris Likes. Has he, I know you haven't gotten the doctor's report yet, but has he been practicing or doing anything? Like what has he been doing since the last game? That's the first. Okay. And then you want to answer that and then I'll tell you.
Yeah, let me answer that first. So
okay.
The first thing is we took Sunday off.
Okay.
We were very beat up after the game. We had a number of guys dealing with some, bumps and bruises that they needed to treat. So Sunday was a day off. So nobody practiced Sunday. On Monday, we practiced, but Chris spent this whole time in treatment, working with our trainer, Corey, on trying to get the ankle stronger and better, more flexible. So he didn't practice. And so we'll wait to see what the doctor says of whether or not he can go today.
Okay, thank you. And my second question is on Matt Cross. What is it that you saw in him when you were recruiting him? And, did you expect him to be able to step in, as a starter, as a freshman and do what he's done so far?
Okay, let's begin by what we saw. Matt Cross played for the BABC. That's the same AAU program as Bruce Brown. And we loved Bruce. We absolutely thought he's a perfect Miami player, tough, hard-nosed defender, a conscientious student, a great guy off the court, a great teammate who's his teammates love, his coaches love. Playing for the BABC, Leo Papil, his coach, said a lot of the same things about Matt. Tough, hard-nosed competitor, will work hard at the defensive end of the floor. A different skill set than Bruce. He's more of a three-point shooter, but he's physically ready to compete. Now, we didn't anticipate Matt Cross being in the start lineup because we anticipated Sam Wardenberg being back and healthy and using all of his experience. We anticipate Matt Cross being, behind sand, but now he's been thrust into the starting lineup and he's handled it extremely well.
Any more questions for Coach L? All right. Thanks everyone for your time. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.